I mean, I think you're absolutely right on that because otherwise we have coconut meads going in the same category with the chipotle meads, and they are completely different because the judges obviously like you can get a set of judges that are allergic to spice stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Well, and
that,
we ask about that at the Mazer Cup, to see if anybody's allergic. But yeah, you're right, and that's one of the problems with the other category is that you've got wildly different kinds of meads, so you can't judge them against each other. You have to judge them against the perceived standard for that particular type of mead, even if it's the only one of that type. You
well, if
know.
you look actually at the cup, spicy meads this year results, I think all of them were like a coconut, chocolate, or like cocoa nibs, and none of them were spicy.
Oh, really?
And yeah, first three, and mine was actually mine went to the best of show, but didn't make it because mine was hella spicy. But on the other hand, on the fruity ones, I actually got the third place with the chipotle raspberry in the fruit and spice category. So, and I'm not saying that I felt kind of sorry or treated unfair. I'm just saying that they're different things,
It
and
is, yeah.
especially if you like tried an vanilla sizer, or and then like the next one goes that with a ghost pepper, it's gonna like destroy you. It's not, well, that's how it is because like you try to have a really spicy stuff towards the end, but it's gonna stand out, and I think it's gonna stand out in the wrong way. In
Yeah.
that,
Well, and when you're judging a wildly different flight like that, because I've been in the other category several times as a judge, and what you get used to basically looking at what you're going to have and ordering it from least palate damaging to most palate damaging. Because you really don't want to start with the ghost pepper mead, it's just not a good idea. But yeah, I mean they're wildly different, and it makes for some very challenging judging. But the neat thing is that there is a place for meads that don't fit anywhere else, and that basically is wide open on the creativity, place. So you can do anything you want, literally in there. I mean, you can do anything. There's no limits. Whereas, of course, in any BJCP category, in order to be judged as a good mead against the category, you have to adhere to the standards of the category, and there are rules. So there are pluses and minuses, because of course you could end up with a flight that's got a ghost pepper and and Manny and I are throwing back and forth ultimate mead things: a Meadowfoam Bochet vanilla cream soda mead, and and a cherry chipotle, and a banana cream Foster mead, and a vanilla sizer, and they can all be in that same flight, and it's extremely challenging to judge that, but then at that point you look at, is it balanced? Is it well constructed? Does it properly showcase each of the flavors? And are they also together as complementary? Do they fit together, and are they not, it's not one leaping out in front of the other. It's not like all in your face honey and you're missing the pepper, or so much pepper that you're like, oh my God, I just burned my face off. There was honey in that, so it's and I've had some like that. I had a Chipotle one 3-4 years ago that I believe took best in show for the home category, and it was stunning. It was so well, and this was way before. I mean, we still don't have a capsicum category. This was back when I call them peppermills, but back when capsicum were relatively rare in mead competition. They were just starting to pick up speed, so there was maybe 2 pepper meads in that entire competition, and this one was stunning. I mean, just unbelievably well put together. Yet, we had no standards to judge it against. We just went with the fact that it was a darn good mead, and had no faults that anybody could detect.
Cool.
So,
well, I think we still have a breakthrough because at least they separate any like spice, vegetable, and herbal meats from the other category. Because I cannot imagine like how it was when you had let's say bourbon aged mead going versus ghost pepper mead because they were completely different.
Yeah.
Now at least you have like some kind of like uniformity.
I think we'll see more and more of that as the industry matures. You know, I mean, we're still very, very young. We're 5-year-olds on the scale of industry maturity. We've got a long ways to go yet, but I have to say that to a certain extent, I love the fact that the other category is really the Wild West of meads. There's you can do anything you want. There really is no limits there, and that's where we get some of the most amazing things, I think, in a lot of ways. There's only so many ways you can make it traditional, you know. But you get into other, and that's where you get the capsicum ales who hardly anybody knew what they were 20 years ago, and now they're on the brink of becoming their own category. And you see there are dozens of commercial meaderies making and marketing them. Coffee meads is another one. 5 years ago, nobody made a coffee mead.
Cucumber meads.
Cucumber meads.
Yeah, and we're gonna balance them all. We're gonna balance them all out, nice and dry.
There you go. Yeah, and the Cellarmen are going to make them dry, and they're going to do it really well. So yeah, you guys are rocking at that. I know a lot of people are really curious about how to make a good traditional, and I hear that get asked a lot, and of course, and I've heard this from others, and I've tasted it myself. So many traditionals don't live up to the promise. They don't live up to their potential of what they could be.
I think that's because traditionals really, especially a dried traditional, just basically anything that you do wrong in the ferment or that you are lax with will show up, and you'll be able to taste the results of any little corner cut shows up glaringly in a traditional, I think.
I just like tasting all the different flavors of honey and what they can do.
Mm-hmm. And let that honey shine.
Yeah. Because, shoot, man, you can get some weird honeys that give you, black pepper note, black tea, almost tannic characteristics, everything's out there, metafoam. Shoot, roasted marshmallow.
Oh God, I love metafoam.
And
who doesn't?
Yeah.
I know, right? That's the holy grail of honey, I think.
Tupelo.
Tupelo is
well,
definitely.
see, yeah, on this side of the country, it's the other way around. Because Tupelo, while it's not easy for us to get it, it's certainly a lot easier for us to get it down here than it is for pretty much anybody outside the South.
Well, then get me.
Where can I get a 55-gallon drum of it?
I don't know. Let me ask around. Unfortunately, this year the Tupelo crop was
this year, I think there was only a 55-gallon drum of that stuff made.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah. For the last 3 years.
Yeah,
it's been a bad several years. Well, hey, and y'all are having issues with cherries, so it's going on everywhere.
No, that's the government.
We just have
the government had an issue with our cherries.
Well, this year the government had an issue with cherries, but the last couple of years the cherry crop just got whacked in those last-minute frosts you guys got.
Yeah, we're actually looking good this year as far apples. They are basically predicting that it's going to be Michigan's largest apple crop that's going to go to market share.
By 20%.
Yeah, by 20% larger than it even was last year, which was 2013 ended up being one of the largest, and this is about 20% more than that.
Shoot, wish I could get home and get a couple bushels of apples. I grew up in apple country. Northern
I'll trade you some apples for some Tupelo.
Apples for Tupelo.
Now I gotta go see if I can find some Tupelo. Yeah, Manny's not joking by much. It really was really dismal this year. Because I mean, even around here where it's usually easy to find, you're not seeing it.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, the guy I go to down in Homestead, Florida, just told me, just forget it. You're not going to be able to get it. Like in the 5-gallon pail, he says it's not even a thought. It would have cost as much as a Buick, I think.
It's fair. Speaking of getting what you expect from a dry mead,
you guys have got a few different meads out, and you've got some rather wacky names for them. What are you trying to say with the names, and do you have a theme? How do you come up with those when you name your brews?
People take their names too seriously.
Yeah, they do. People, they just come to us, and a lot of the names are taken way too seriously. And we don't have like some session where we're sitting around trying to come up with a name, because then you end up with a camel, and you just don't have anything that's truly designed, in a way and in fun. So sometimes they just say, I don't know, let's call it swamp water, and that's like it clicks as yes, that's absolutely what it should be.
It's always off the cuff.
Yeah,
It's
not to
light,
say it's not
playful. It's us just bullshitting.
Yeah, not to say it's not serious, because that ends up the serious name, and that's what the product is called, and it's certainly silly that it's called that, but sure. But like Moscow Miel, that's just a play on Miel and a Moscow Mule, and it just because it comes what it is. Our second best thing is that's sold out there is a pineapple cider that we do with Star Thistle, and
That was good. I really like
it's just pineapple cider. There's nothing, we don't want to force it and call it some goofy name about tropics and pineapple and this and that, and it's just become known out there as pineapple cider, and that's just what it is.
It didn't need a fancy name. It was really good. I enjoyed that immensely. In fact, I've still got some in the flip top I poured the rest of it into.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm hoarding because I know it's going to be a while before I get any more.
Isn't that what you were drinking last week that you were saying it's so dangerous?
Oh yeah, it was terribly dangerous. This week was dangerous too.
That's what we hear a lot.
I know. I blew through half this 32-ounce can of the Saigon Sin, and I was like, my head's gonna hurt tomorrow.
Told you it was easier than
That's
you
just
thought.
fun.
I know, right? God, yeah. And the funny thing is it was a totally easy drinker. I'm not in the least bit drunk. It just tasted so good, went down very nicely. All the way around, it was great.
There you go.
Cool.
Oh.
So, gosh, guys, this has been just a ton of fun.
Oh yeah, this has been very fun.
Yeah, we'll have to get you back on. We're talking about going forward. We've talked about doing some panels around maybe some different styles and approaches and things like that. Kind of like a presidential election without the mudslinging.
Well, what fun is that?
Yeah, I know, right? You make shitty meat. Oh yeah. Oh
dear.
But a series of questions that are pre-decided and go out to the panelists, and so they know what to expect, and then everybody gets to comment on those questions, and we'll have some cross talk between panel members and stuff. It's like a con panel like that. So it gives the opportunity for to be kind of more of an open forum, let people call in and ask questions and learn some things. So we may ask you to come back for something like that as we firm that up. We're still in the planning stages right now. We don't know what it's going to look like yet.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, like we said,
not a con, Hamish, a convention.
Yeah.
Like
Mead cider, like education, is something that we definitely like to do, and it's getting the proper information out there and good information, so there can be a lot of good high quality product out there, and letting people know about everything. And last week we were able to teach an off flavors class, which we actually needed Vegemite for. So if you guys could send some of that up there, we needed that for autolyzed yeast. But
Hamish, they need some of that nasty crap you put on toast.
It's not nasty. It's a damn fine.
It's nasty.
That's why we show the people what it is, and so but no, we get to teach a lot of things and should give people the correct information.
Cool, I like it. So, all right, well, we'll let you guys get. I know you've had like a long, brutal day, so I'm gonna let you go collapse now.
Awesome. That's exactly what's about to happen.
I imagine you're probably ready to. But thanks so much for coming on and killing a couple hours with us and talking mead. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
All right. Well, don't think you're free. You're going to be back, so just
Beautiful.
Till then.
Alrighty.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks so much.
Thank-
We'll talk to you
thank
soon.
you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Night.
Well, that was a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah. And look at that, we ended on time.
Not yet.
Oh
we're
my
not
God,
done
how
yet.
did that happen?
I know, right?